Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Carl's Computing Corner review. This has been a while since I wanted to do this. If you don't know what this is, that's the this is. It is the Silicon Graphics O2 computer. This is actually a workstation, a graphical workstation running, or actually was produced between 1996 and 2000. Base configuration came with about 64 megs of RAM, a SCSI hard drive about 4 gigs in size, and running a Unix-like operating system called IRIX 6.2 or 6.3. One of the two, I don't remember offhand. This particular machine is actually running not a typical processor that you would find in your local big box stores, or your local computer shop that is close by to your place. It's actually using a MIPS processor, ranging anywhere between, I would say, anywhere between 180 to 400 megahertz in size. Way back in the day in 1995 or 1996 in this case, processors for the home computer weren't that powerful as they are today in comparison, running in the gigahertz range. But this one here, between 180 megahertz to about 400 megahertz with the MIPS processor, was fairly speeded back in the day. And yes, I do agree, the color does not look like the best in the world here on this. This actually was mainly used in the environments of business, meant to do graphics animation. In other words, animation like what you would see in Toy Story, as an example, but they didn't use this particular machine. They may use something similar and more recent in comparison, but way back in the day, this type of machine was very popular for the simple fact that you can have up to 1 gigabyte of memory on it, but instead of being like the way we have it now on the PC, on your regular home computer that you and I both use, this was actually uniformed across the board for both video, the computer itself, the operating system, and the memory for the graphics. Everything could be referenced to the main memory itself, so it was all uniform. I'm going to also show you the PDF of the stats for this particular machine, as well as the Wikipedia of the machine as well. It gives you a little bit more explanation than what I'm giving you here. So I figured at least give you an idea of an overall one, that I had this already for a couple of years. I think I had received this from a friend of mine about a good 5 years ago. The problem that he had, he couldn't find the operating system. He says, if you can find it, you can have it. So guess what? He gave it to me anyhow. He couldn't find it, so I ended up finding the actual OS online. It was on a place that was actually a repository for abandoned old operating systems. So I had actually found it there, the version that I need to work with, and also the updated patches to bring it up to 6.5.2, which was the last release from the Silicon Graphics. The other thing I wanted to show you as well is the back side of it. This one does have a CD player right up in here. It's a 4X CD-ROM, so it's a maximum of 700 megabytes it can read and write to, all SCSI by the way. And the unique thing about this one here, if I were to bring this in and zoom in to the side here, is that it has, and you can see it right there, some inputs and outputs. Now this machine, you can hook up directly to like your monitor to display out, and also, or like a VCR as an example, or DVR that you can record out to and also record in from. This is actually one part of the thing there that actually encodes it. So this is actually the connections to connect the computer to the outside world. Now let me stop this here, and I'll show you the backside and the unboxing of it. Okay, here's the back side of it. You have your regular SCSI out for additional external hard drives. This one here was actually used for a webcam. A long time ago, webcams were still using some parallel ports. This one is actually specific to this one. You have your regular VGA out, 2 serials, and 2 PS2 ports, for one for the keyboard, one for the mouse. This here was an actual available PCI slot that you can actually hook up another component inside. And here's the fun part. You're gonna love this. This is actually modular. So what you see, what I'm pulling out right here, is the actual 4 gigabyte hard drive that was used for it. This one in this case is a IBM hard drive, 4 gigabytes. I do have a replacement drive for this, a larger one, which I actually am going to plan to put in, which is going to be a lot larger. It's going to be a 36.4 gig hard drive. This one here is the actual composite component that you had seen on the side before. Again, it's a modular design. Again, here's the component itself. This is actually the one that does the encoding of everything. So you have your inputs and outputs, and your S-video out. And again, this does all the encoding itself for the video itself. So this does all the calculations for you. So this goes back into here. Now, as for memory on this one, just to let you know, there we go. The memory that I had gotten on this when I received it from my friend, we didn't know offhand how much there was. I think I was taking a good guesstimate on this when I was looking on the inside of it. I'm just going to pull that out right now. And it's a heck of a son of a gun to actually pull out with one hand. So there's your PCI slot. And now if I go in on the side, and here I'll turn the light on here so you guys can see a little bit. There we go. You got 8 slots, which is all proprietary, 239, so there's 6 of them filled here. From what I gathered on the inside when I pulled one of these out, this one here is about a 256 meg pin, 256 meg of 239 pin. So it's adding up here, if I remember correctly, if I remember reading these ones properly, it's going to come close to 768 megs of RAM. So that's fairly good, which brings it almost to a gig. Just taking a look just to see if you can see clearly enough. Sometimes it's not always evident. But anyhow, these ones you can put up to a gig maximum. And here, this is where the processor is. Behind this shielding, this is actually the fins for the processor. The processor on this, it's either an R5000 or R10000 MIPS processor, but I don't remember the speed that it was running at. When I do get a chance to actually upgrade the hard drive and get the installation of the OS put in, I will definitely be powering it up and testing it out, because once I have it installed in, and if I can get this back in there properly without breaking anything, and you know how it is when you're working with one hand, like UX Bill and his trusty handycam, wrong way. There we go. There we go, back in. Is you're going to have a lot of fun with it. And last but not least, so yeah, this just to show you, this is also modular too. You can actually pull that out. And this here itself is a 170 watt power supply. So that's not so bad. So here we go. Put that back in. And close that up. There we go. Now, as for everything else, I can tell you one thing. This is a good little machine probably to have to work with. Once I get this here working, it's going to take me a little while because I know Linux, and Linux is a distant cousin of Unix, so learning it should not be too much of a problem. But to get some software off the net to be able to use what I needed to use will be a fun challenge in itself. So wait for part 2 in regards to this. Once I get it up and running, I'll definitely make a part 2 for this. So thanks for watching, and I'll be back with part 2 sure enough. Take care.